Everyone, and welcome to this lesson. And in this lesson, we'll be talking about another two methods of working with arrays in JavaScript. The first one is the IndexOf method, and the other one is the last IndexOf method. Now, before I continue, I want to quickly do a reminder that in the last lesson we talked about the slice method as it can be used to create a new array, and we were able to see that it can take start and end arguments. It can take two arguments, and that if the last argument is omitted, it will slice out the rest of the array, just as we were able to see in the examples that we used for demonstration purposes. So moving on from that, we talked about the IndexOf method, which is one of the JavaScript array search method. So the IndexOf method searches an array for an element value and return its position. Now, an example of that is this. So the IndexOf method searches an array for an element value and return its position. So we have an array right here which contains all these elements. Now, I want to now get the position of my array. Sorry, the position of an element inside my array. So I just need to pass the method IndexOf. What do I want to get its position? Which of the element do I want to get its position? I want the one for apple. So I will just pass it in this way. And boom, fruit. And what I have need here is position. You can see. So that means the index of apple in this array is 0, which is correct. Can't start from 0 when you are naming indexes when it comes to array. So 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. So if I want the position of this element, pineapple, inside my array, then this will give me for 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, which is correct. So this is how you use the index method to search for an array for an element value, and then you return its position. Now, note that the first item which we have here has a position of 0, and the second has a position of 1, and so on and so forth, because counting searches from 0. I'm sorry, indexes start from 0 in JavaScript, and that is why the item has a position of 0. So like I just demonstrated, I just explained how you can search for the position of an element. I did the one for apple and the one for pineapple. You can as well try the one for mango, orange, and banana on your own. Now there are some things to note when you are working with IndexOf method in JavaScript. So the number one thing that is required is the item that you want to search for, which is either any of these elements that we have in this array. So that is very important, and that is a required value when using the IndexOf position. Number two is the start of the search. Where do you start the search? Where in the array do you want the start to search? And that one is optional, which means that aside from here, I can specify position where I want the search to start from. Maybe I want it from 2. Do you understand? Or I want it from I don't know, maybe from 0 or anywhere. So you can specify where you want it start to search, but it is optional, and that is why I am not using it. Now, if you give it a negative value like -2, let's take a look at this. Now, this will start at the given position, and it will count from the end. Do you understand? And search to the end. So index, the negative value will start from the end of what you have, the element of your array, and count and search to the end. So it will start from here and then search back to the end if you give it an index value of negative. So these two things are very important. One is required, which is the item to search for, while where to search the search is optional. Now, when the index position of an element is not found, it will return an index, it will return a -1. So if I change this to maybe Q, something that does not exist, you can see it returns -1. So the index of will return -1 if the item is not found. Now, if the item is present more than once, it will return the position of the first occurrence, which means that if I have banana twice this way, banana, if I have this twice and I search for it, it will only return the first occurrence, and that is where I'm seeing one. You know, we have two banana, but it will only return the first occurrence and not the two that I have. So let's move quickly to the next method, which is the last index of method. Array.last index of method is the same as array.index of method, but returns the position of the last occurrence of the specified element. So the last index is just the opposite, like of the index of, but this in its own return the position of the last occurrence of the specified element. And let's take a look at an example for this. Array last index of, and return its last occurrence position. So I'm still going to use this example for fruit. So I already have my array this way, and then I can do first position equals fruit dot last index of, so apple position. Now you can see right here that the position of apple here is 0, which is because apple is just 1 in this instance. If I add another one at the end of this, let's take a look. And I had another apple. Now you will see that it's picking the one at the head, which is the one that has the last occurrence, which is the one on the 6th position. You can see that it has changed from 0 that it's shown initially to 6. So that's because the last index of method searches an array for an element value and return its last occurrence position. So this is how the last index of method works in JavaScript, to fetch the last occurrence position of an element in your array. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next lesson.